Hello everyone and welcome to Fun with Fitzy. Today's video is going to be Chapter 4, Video 1, and we are going to be talking about the worksheet. So this is a little bit of review from grade 11, only a slight difference, which is not complicated. So if you understand the worksheet from grade 11, you're going to be in great shape here. So as a reminder, a worksheet is a multiple column form that may be used in the adjustment process and in preparing financial statements. It is not a financial statement. It is a tool that accountants use. Okay, so we see here a working tool or a supplementary device for the accountant. It's not a permanent accounting record. It makes the preparation of adjusting entries and financial statements easier because everything is in one place. You'll remember from the last video we talked about the adjusted trial balance being a good place to prepare your financial statements. Well, on the worksheet you end up with all the information that you get on your adjusted trial balance, and all the adjustments are made there. So as a reminder, a worksheet looks like this. In grade 11, we started with 6 columns. We started with basically the trial balance here. We started with the income statement and the balance sheet. And then we added an adjustment column. So we went from 6 columns to 8 columns, and this one is just 10 columns. We can prepare a worksheet without doing the adjusted trial balance. So we start off with preparing the trial balance. That's step 1. Second step is enter the adjustments. Here we're going to enter the adjusted balances so that you don't have to, when you're extending, calculate them into the income statement. Extending becomes easier in this method. And then extend the adjusted balance, the balances that you get in this column, to the appropriate columns. And then 5, calculate income and loss. Write the word net income over here and complete the worksheet. Remember, that net income is also called a balancing figure. You'll remember that from grade 11. I'm going to write that down. Remember that? Anyways, we'll go through it right now. Okay, so basically, as a reminder as well, the first place that adjusting entries are recorded is on the worksheet. But remember, you need to journalize them and post them still after you do them on the worksheet. As the worksheet is prepared, adjusting entries are calculated and recorded in that section called Adjustments. Okay, so let's take a look at it. So here we have a worksheet. Now this one doesn't have that adjusted trial balance section, but let's just go with this one. And we have GST. So let's just go with HST as we normally would. In grade 11, we got used to doing this. Saves me from having to redo all my material. So first thing we're going to do is do our adjustments. The physical inventory, this is the first adjustment, of supplies on December 31st totaled 526. So remember, in your adjustment column, you have to put what you used. So if you had 1480.90 and you have left 526, when you subtract them, you're going to get what you used. And therefore, you're going to debit supplies expense. We're going to add this account because it's not there. And you're going to put supplies as a credit because supplies are going down. We did this all in Chapter 3. An analysis of prepaid insurance determined that the balance at December 31st should be $4,070. So the adjustment for that, they're telling you what the balance should be. So we need to calculate what we used. Remember, everything that goes in this column here is what you used up, okay, in both of these columns. So if we had 6,564 and we should have this amount left, if you subtract them, you will get 2,494. And that's insurance expense because you used up that insurance. And now prepaid insurance must go down, so we're going to credit it. This is total review grade 11. And the third one here, a clerk discovered 3 late purchase invoices belonging to 2007, which this worksheet is completed for. So now we're going into 2008. So we want to make sure these late invoices that came in 2008 get put in this fiscal year. So we're going to have telephone expense and truck expense here. So there's telephone, there's truck, and we owe the money because this is an adjustment. Remember, never use cash. We're going to owe the money. There was a third expense there, miscellaneous, and there, add them all together, and these 3 debits equal this credit. Get your total down here, draw your double ruled line if they balance, and you can move on. Remember, your debits must always equal your credits. Now we're going to extend these adjustments over. So where there were adjustments, you're going to take this amount and either add or subtract. If it's a debit and a debit, you add. If it's a credit and a credit, you add. But if they're different, if it's a debit and a credit, subtract. So in this case, we have a debit in supplies and a credit. So they're different. We're going to subtract. So 1480.90 subtract 954.90 equals 526. So you're going to put the answer in the appropriate one of these four columns. Again, there was a debit in prepaid insurance and a credit. So a debit and a credit means subtract. Put the answer there. Here we have a credit and a credit, so we're going to add them. They're both the same. So add those together, put the answer in the appropriate column. And then once you're done those three on the balance sheet and the income statement, you do the same thing on the income statement, but extend everything else over. So for example, bank here, 520.51 was not adjusted. There's nothing in the adjustment column, so that 520.51 just goes there. And so on and so forth. For example, down here, bank charges expense was not adjusted. There's nothing in the adjustment column, so that number stays there. However, miscellaneous expense had a debit, and we debited it again, so add them. Add that and put the answer there. Don't forget here, supplies expense. A common mistake I see is people forget to move this number over. And now total your income statement and your balance sheet column. So you're going to add up this, put the number there, add up this, and put the number there. And don't be alarmed when they don't equal each other. That's quite normal. You're going to see that when you subtract, this is revenue, this is expenses. When you subtract them, you're going to get net income. Revenue minus expenses, net income. So subtract the two, put the answer on the smaller side because you want it to go on the smaller side. So when you add them together, these two numbers, you get this number. And when you add this to 0, because nothing's there, you get this number. Same thing on your balance sheet. You're going to take the smaller number from the bigger number and put it on the smaller side, right here. And therefore, these two. Now your balance sheet balances. And that makes a lot of sense to me because remember, net income is needed to make sure your balance sheet balances because you had your beginning capital, which is right here. Your beginning capital plus net income equals your ending capital, which is needed to get the new balance on your balance sheet. Don't forget to write the word net income here. Don't forget to do a single ruled line all the way across here and a double ruled line. All right, from there, we need to journalize the adjusting entries. I talked about that already because we've done our adjustments on the worksheet. Here they are. There's 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and their corresponding debits and credits here. So you need to put them in the journal and post to the ledger. So here's the first journal entry. Start with our debit, supplies, expense. There's number 1, 954.90. That's our debit, and find the matching credit. There's the number 1. So it is supplies. So we're going to debit supplies expense. And we're going to credit supplies. There it is. Debits always equal credits. And remember, put your heading. When you're doing adjusting and closing entries, put the heading on the journal paper so that you don't have to write an explanation. Don't forget the date and don't forget the page number. As a reminder, page number 1 should never be used for adjusting and closing because that's not the business starting. By now, you should be able to explain why accountants use worksheets, be able to complete a worksheet. And I forgot to add here, journalize and post the adjusting entries. Thanks for watching and talk to you soon.